So if you've watched any of my other videos, you probably know that I've been awarded an Arts Council grant, which is Time for Writing and also Audience Development. And as promised, I am going to do a video explaining the process. So in the UK, we have the Arts Council, and the Arts Council award money to artists, performers, poets, singers, sculptures, so that they can develop the art. And I decided that I'm working lots of jobs, and to make my publishing dreams come true, I needed time to write. So the grant I applied for was a small grant of under £15,000. So I'm just checking my notes. Okay, so the first thing, the first problem I had with applying was the fear. I was really frightened about applying for an Arts Council grant. I applied for an Arts Council grant previously for a project called Portsmouth Plugged In, and I didn't get it. But I learnt so much about the process from doing that I don't regret it at all. To this day, I still couldn't on a postcard write exactly what I wanted that project to be. I knew it was something about writers, something about filmmakers, getting them together, but I wasn't clear on it, and I made lots of other mistakes in that application. So one grant form down and rejected, I decided to have another shot. And I also decided I was in the position where I needed to think about my career and think about me. So I knew the next grant had to be to help me. But I was frightened. You look online and there's so many people saying negative things about the Arts Council. You hear lots of horror stories about the Arts Council's form. And it puts me in mind, do you remember when you're learning to drive and everybody around you is trying to outdo you with horror stories about driving lessons gone wrong and going the wrong way around roundabouts? It is a form, okay? It is a form. It has no power over you. And not only that, you don't have to sit down and fill the form in one go. You can fill a bit of it in, go away, and then come back like days later. It is not that bad. It's not that scary. 2/3 of the form anybody can fill out. It's asking you your name, your address, your bank details. You can do it. I promise you, you can do it. I swear to you. Like I said, 2/3 of it. So I treated it like the exam paper. I went through the bits I could fill in, and then there was a good third of it which I thought, I do not know what these people want. But you know what? There's a helpline number. You can phone up and you can ask people to help you with the form. And they said, why not go away and literally find people who've done the Arts Council proposal and filled out the form, and they will help you. You know, they might charge you if your grant is successful. You will pay them a bit to help you with your form, but you can do that. So, you know, you're not completely left on your own. And as much as I understand that for artists it's frustrating to fill out forms, but the Art Councils have got loads of money. You can't just turn up and say, oh, can I have some money? And they say, yeah. It doesn't seem unreasonable to me for them to say, what do you want the money for? How are you going to spend the time? And what do you expect to get out of the end of it? And that is basically what the form is saying. So, fear of the form was the first project. Okay, the other scary thing that you do have to do, if you want to get the Arts Council to take you seriously, you want to show them that you've got other people who actually believe in you. This was a terrifying thing for me. I was recommended, okay, to go away to the agents who have rejected me but have been really nice and said, we love your work. We want you to send us your work again, but we don't think it's right at the moment. And go away to them and ask them if they would support you in your Arts Council grant. I was terrified, absolutely terrified, because that's what we have in our heads. We have in our head that the agents are quite scary people, but they are people. And I was surprised. The agents I approached, people who I've sent work from, who have requested my work back and who have sent me really kind, encouraging rejections, said, yes, we actually think this is a really good idea for you and we're happy to support you. And a lovely agent wrote this absolutely wonderful letter saying that she thought I was a good writer, she was interested in the project, in what I wanted to write, that she would read it at the end of it. And then she also said, but if this is going to be set in Cornwall, from Charlotte's writing I can tell you that Charlotte will have to go to Cornwall and have a look around. She's not somebody who can write about things she hasn't experienced. So I did manage to get the letters of support. You just to wrap yourself up and ask. It's frightening, it's horrible, but you know, people do want to help you. Just looking at my notes. Okay, there's this thing where they ask you about your audience. Who does your writing and your art touch? Now this was a question that absolutely terrified me. Okay, I was thinking, well, I'm not published, well, my fiction isn't published, therefore no one has heard from me. But that's not true. I'm a storyteller, I perform my written work at different places, I've had things published in newspapers, I've got my my blog and different things, and for a year I recorded it, and I was really surprised that I do have a bit of an audience. Not a fan club, sadly, but yes, you know, my work gets out there and it gets read by some people. 3 people there, 4 people, well no, actually the audiences are quite good. Think about it. Are you writing flash fiction? Are you some sort of member of a flash fiction thing on Facebook where you might have 100 people reading your work and you read their work? When you sit down, the first thing you think is, no one likes me, no one's ever heard of me. But when you stop and think, you'll be surprised that you do have a bit of an audience. You do go to a reading group, share your work there. Okay, so that was a big thing to do. The next one. Working out the funding. Maths. That was hard. I'm just going to ask my daughter to pass me my diary over there. What I did, the white one on the top, is I bought a diary. Hey, just a cheap one from one of these workshop. Okay. And I opened that up and I thought, okay, if I am going to write a novel, how am I going to do this? And I put in all my bookings, you know, work commitments, my performance dates for the next year, and I decided which days I would write. And then I thought, okay, how long is it going to take you to plot a novel? And then I had a cup of tea and I thought, no, how long is it going to take you to plot the novel? I wrote it in there. How long is it going to take you to write different drafts and at which point you're in? And I basically planned out the entire year. When I would want to see a mentor, what kind of feedback, when I expected that I'm finally going to have to think about whether my work is punctuated, you know, because early drafts I just write. And then later on, you know, when I was going to do the editing. And I broke down all the dates, put it in there, and then from there I put it in the form. So I could say to the Arts Council, look, I'm not going to say, please give me some money and by, you know, 14 months time we'll have a novel. I was able to say, please give me some money and this is how I'm going to spend my time. It's quite nerve-wracking as well thinking about it, but you know, you've got to be professional about these things. And if I was doing a different project, isn't that what you would do? If you were saying you're a project manager, you would break the project down into chunks. So that was that one. Okay, and also I printed out and read the Arts Council guidelines. Okay, I didn't just read them once, I read them 3 times. And I read them out loud in different voices and things. Then I printed out the how to get grants for under 15,000, right? And I read them a couple of times, got it in my head, and as questions came into my head, I wrote them on the printout, and then I phoned up the Arts Council and said, do you mean this? Do you mean that? Until a lovely man called Jason on the helpline said, these aren't trick questions, it's not an exam paper, this is actually guidance, it's supposed to be to help you. So if we say that, we actually mean that. And once again, the fear settled. That's what I did. So this is the first 5 points that I did in preparation for my grant. I'm going to do another little video about filling out the forms. I really hope this has been useful, and I do hope that you have a go at doing it yourself, because it really is a great feeling and it does take away some of that financial fear, and I'm so excited about the idea of working with a mentor. So have a go. Click to subscribe and leave any comments in the bar for me. Thank you.